What's up everyone, welcome to Heroes Avenue, and today is Reading the Comments Day, where we read your comments. Alright, so we haven't done this a lot lately, just because we're trying to like phase it out a bit and just read your comments at the end of our videos during the weekday, just because, you know, nothing really happens on the weekends, and we just feel like it's better to just do it on the weekdays after our weekday videos. But that's somewhere in the future. But let me go ahead and read your comments today. And again, we read your comments every Sunday, and we read it from our own videos. And so we're gonna start from my previous video where I talked about how Todd Phillips denied Joker meeting with WB about a Joker sequel. And the first comment comes from MGS Big Boss, and he says, "Agreed. No Joker sequel is necessary. Story was told. Let's deal with it and let our imagination handle what might have possibly have come next. Hollywood really needs to get out the idea of always making sequels to successful movies. Learn to leave them be and move on sometimes. I never got my Hancock sequel film in 2009, for example, despite the success of the film." So I'm glad you agree with me. So if you guys haven't watched the video, in my Joker video, I said that that Joker 2 shouldn't happen, and I felt like what we got in the original Joker movie was perfect, and a sequel isn't necessary because, you know, what comes after, you know, Affleck's rise into the Joker, I think after that, I think it's best to knowing what he does after that is best to leave it to our own imagination. And I felt like this movie is like perfect, and you know, making a sequel could jeopardize the, you know, the artistic, you know, the content or what that movie was able to bring. It could potentially ruin that, just if that sequel just was complete poo-poo. And we've seen that in previous you know, franchises where like they made a great first movie and the second movie was crap. But there were also some movies where the first movie was okay, but the second movie was killer, like Rush Hour 2, Dark Knight, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. We got a bad Rotten Tomatoes score, but I totally love that movie. But yeah, so I'm glad you agree with me, MGS. I haven't heard of Hancock in so long. That movie was pretty good to me, but I've never heard of anyone liking that movie, just because no one really talks about it. And so I'm glad you were able to bring that up in the comments and give that movie some love. So shout out to you. Alright, so the next comment comes from Nico Panther. He says, "Good point. Joker should be a standalone. I pray The Rock Black Adam does well. I'd like to see the Justice Society, but they need to fix the main Justice League too. Then we could have both the League and the Society joined together." So in the same video, I talked about how the Black Adam movie could potentially bring in the Justice Society of America, because The Rock basically confirmed it in an interview. But I mean, it's not set in stone, but I mean, that's what he wants in his Black Adam movie. And so yeah, so Nico thinks that, you know, WB should focus on, you know, fixing the Justice League before they bring in the JSA, and I totally agree. But I feel like at this point, if they are going to fix the Justice League, they would have done it by now. And so we have to look to the future. And so if that future has just Justice Society, I'm all for it. I mean, if they do release the Snyder Cut, that is kind of that's kind of their way of fixing things, kind of. But yeah, I would, you know, as much as I want a Justice League 2, that's a whole nother conversation on how, and in terms of, especially on like, think about like where the DCU is at that point. So it's a weird discussion to have, and that we could say that for another video. But I am definitely excited to see the JSA into the big screen. That would be so dope to see. And the next comment comes from Rainen Michael Quintana. He says, "Black Adam should rock a hair a bit." Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I feel like they got to give The Rock some hair, especially like the short hair that Black Adam rocks. If they just keep him bald and just make him look like The Rock, it's basically The Rock with the cape. and I just can't see anyone else but The Rock. So disguising him, just putting on some hair a bit, will remove that, right, and make us see the Black Adam more than The Rock. So I definitely agree with you. All right, the next comment comes from Joseph Steele, and he says, I 100% agree with you that the Joker sequel doesn't need to happen, but I wanted more villain movies than Deathstroke and Bane. Oh, like Deathstroke and Bane. Yeah, it's a shame that, you know, the rumor spread that, you know, Todd Phillips was going to make a sequel along with, you know, making another villain origin movie. I mean, that in itself, that's a really dope ass story, and that would have been really cool to see live, you know, another villain origin story. But you know, since since that conversation never happened, yeah, we could throw that in the garbage bin. That'd be really cool to see. I mean, you can't lose all hope. I mean, it could come up eventually from someone else, but who knows what the future holds with the DCU. Everything's pretty random, so I wouldn't take that out of consideration just yet. But for now, let's just know that it's not confirmed for another villain origin story with a dark, creepy spin take. All right, so my next comment comes from Shinekage, the man who him and MGS seem to always comment, so I appreciate the love, guys. And Shinekage says, they put out that Joker story to turn the story away from Henry Cavill's story, and more importantly, the Snyder Cut story. Rather than jump out ahead of the story and answer the fans, WB opted to use this Joker hoax in an attempt to turn people's attention from the Snyder Cut story from the weekend. It was the Hollywood reporter who put this story out there. WB leaked it, quote, quote. Conspiracy stories, yes. All right, I mean, that would make sense. That is totally, that does make sense. I mean, the Snyder Cut and what Henry Cavill said, I mean, that topic, that was trending, that was going hard, and I'm sure WB was definitely feeling the pressure, and so if this is, I mean, you draw some really cool good conclusions by connecting the dots, but I'm sure Warner Brothers knew that, I mean, this Snyder Cut thing has been going hard for 2 years now, and it hasn't stopped. So I don't know if I 100% agree, but this does make sense. All right. All right, and the last comment that I'm gonna read today is coming from Chris Bowers, and he commented on my Deathstroke suit video where I was comparing Deathstroke suits from the Arrow show, the Justice League movie with Joe Manganiello, and the Titans TV show on DC Universe. And he says, who the best actor for him? And I mean, as much as I love the Arrow verse Deathstroke, I forgot his name, I'm really digging the Arrow, I mean the Deathstroke on the DC Universe. Asai Morales, that guy's killing it, and he is so good. I mean, he plays like a really good father with like a really dark secret, and you could just see it. I mean, you could tell he has some humanity in him, but you know he's just there for like, you could tell like he can't be trusted. So I am loving Titans right now. If you guys haven't been watching Titans, you know the season finale is coming up with Deathstroke versus Nightwing. Spoiler alert, it's gonna be nuts. And Asai Morales, he's bringing so much to that show, and I'm loving every minute of it. Yeah, I just love what he's done. I purely love the suit as well. It would really be cool to see Joe Manganiello, you know, really play the part, but honestly, I can't really put him up there just because he didn't really have that many lines, and so we didn't get to really fall in love with him. So because of that, I nominate Asai Morales as the best Deathstroke on Heroes Avenue, all right? So that's going to be it for today's video. I want to know your guys' thoughts on all of this. Let me know in the comments below, like this video, and I'll see you guys again. Bye.